Discover the Sun was a very popular travel agency. It sold package tours to the hottest and most exotic destinations. But one day, the police found out this company helped criminals flee the country. They also learned the exact date when it would happen the next time. On that day, several police officers arrived at the airport. They stopped a group of tourists who were flying to a Caribbean island. But the detectives didn't know the criminal's identity. That's why they had to search the baggage of all the customers. Look at their bags and say who the criminal is. It's the young woman on the left. If she's going on a package tour to a hot place, why does she need a winter jacket? Eric is trapped in a room. It's slowly filling with water that's coming from a tap in the wall. There are no windows in the room, and the door is blocked. Eric has a mop and a big bucket. What can he do to survive? The only thing the guy needs to do is to turn off the tap. You knew that, didn't you? Laura agreed to take part in a riddle competition. One of the tasks was to get out of a locked room. She had to figure out the code for the combination lock. And the only thing that could help her was this note. 2 equals 6, 4 equals 26, 5 equals 426, 6 equals what? In a couple of minutes, Laura was already leaving the room. What was the code? The code was just one number, 6. 6 equals 2 because 2 equals 6. Megan invited her friends to her favorite restaurant to celebrate her birthday. They were having a lot of fun. Megan got the best birthday present ever. Her friends gave her a diamond ring. Suddenly, the room plunged into darkness. After several minutes of total confusion, the lights came back on. But Megan's ring was gone. Look at the picture thoroughly and try to figure out who stole it. It's the waiter. Look at the glass he's holding. He put the ring inside. Now there's much more water in it. Jacob's girlfriend Nicole loved riddles. One day she was on a business trip to France. She called Jacob and told him it was her relative's birthday. "Could you go and congratulate them, please?" When the guy asked her which relative he had to visit, Nicole answered, "It's the daughter of the only son of my grandfather." Who is this mysterious relative Jacob is asked to congratulate? It's Nicole's sister. Brandon was a police officer. That day, he was patrolling the streets of the small town where he lived. When the man was driving past his best friend's house, he saw that the front door was open. He decided to check if everything was okay. As soon as Brandon entered the hall, he spotted his friend lying on the floor. After the man was taken to a hospital, the officer went to question the neighbors. Julie said, "I've been planting new fruit trees in my garden since early morning." Nathan said, "I have some problems with my car. I was in the garage all day long trying to fix them." And Patrick told Brandon, "They aired a new episode of my favorite TV show. I stayed at home to watch it." Which neighbor is lying? Nathan. His hands and gloves are spotless. It wouldn't be possible if he had been repairing his car. This means he's lying. Ms. Lopez took her students to an art museum. Half an hour into the excursion, a worried museum worker approached the professor. He told Ms. Lopez one of the exhibits, a precious vase, had been damaged. The culprit could be no one else but one of the students. Only 3 of them came close to the vase, but who ruined it? Maria said, "After I looked at the vase, I noticed my makeup was smudged, so I went straight to the bathroom." Anthony said, "I didn't touch the exhibit. After looking at it, I went to the next room to see the dino skeleton." And Nathan said he had been following Ms. Lopez taking notes. One of these students is lying, but who? Anthony. There are no dinosaur bones in the art museum. Someone broke into Samantha's house through the window and stole some valuable things. When the police came, she told them she suspected her younger brother Sam. The police officers went to question the guy, but he denied everything. "I was playing basketball several days ago and broke my arm. It's in a cast now. I wouldn't be able to get into the house." The police officers left, but the next day, one of them saw Sam in a cafe. The guy was still wearing the cast, but the officer immediately arrested him. Why? When the police visited Sam, the guy had the cast on his right arm. Now, it was on his left arm. Look at these two families having dinner. One is munching on pizzas with different yummy toppings. The other is having steaks and vegetables. Can you figure out which family is poorer? No matter how tasty the pizzas are, they're still cheaper than large pieces of meat. This means the family eating steaks must have more money than the second one. Keith had a tragic accident when he was a teenager. Unfortunately, it left the guy blind. He was dreaming of being able to see again for years. One day, Keith was lucky to find a doctor who told him a special surgery could solve his problem. Keith agreed right away. The surgery went well, and the guy took a train to go home. His girlfriend accompanied him. The doctor told Keith he had to wait for at least 3 hours before taking the bandages off. Keith was so impatient and excited he could hardly wait for the time to be over. 3 hours later, they were still on the train. And even though his girlfriend was against this idea, the guy wouldn't listen. He slowly pulled off the bandages, and then he screamed and lost consciousness. Why? When Keith opened his eyes, the train was going through a dark tunnel. The poor guy thought he was still blind and fainted. To pass an exam, Dennis has to solve a riddle. 2 plus 2 is the same as 2 times 2. Find a set of 3 whole numbers whose sum will be the same as their total when multiplied. Dennis gave the right answer almost immediately. These numbers are 1, 2, and 3. Tyler was going to his friend's place in the evening when a stranger in a black mask caught him. The next thing the guy knew, he was in a large room, locked in a cage. There were 3 levers in the wall next to the cage. If he pulled the first lever, he would let hungry lions into the cage. The second lever would fill the cage with water, and the third lever would activate a special mechanism. It would make the top of the cage move down towards the bottom, crushing everyone and everything inside. Which lever should Tyler pull to survive? His only choice is the second lever. All the water will flow out through the bars of the cage. Joan came home one evening and discovered that someone had burgled her house. When the police arrived, first of all, they went to question the neighbors. Victoria said, "I was visiting my friend. She lives 2 blocks away. I came home a couple of minutes ago." Peter explained to the officers that he was ill. He only made a short trip to the pharmacy and stayed in bed after that. Nathan said, "My wife and I were preparing for a barbecue party. Our friends were supposed to come to us, but as you see, it's pouring with rain and we had to cancel our plans." The police officers realized that for some reason, one of the neighbors was lying. Who was it? Victoria. It was raining, and she said she had just come home. But her hair, clothes, and the umbrella, which was standing near the door, were absolutely dry. Matthew has only black and white socks, but he keeps them all mixed. One evening, the guy's in a hurry. He's getting ready for a romantic dinner with his girlfriend. Suddenly, the power goes out. Now it's completely dark in the room. The guy has 10 white and 10 black socks in the drawer. He can't see anything. How many socks must he pull out of the drawer to get 2 matching ones? Just 3. In a set of 3 socks, he's bound to have 2 socks of the same color. Look at the picture carefully and try to figure out which person is left-handed. The waiter is a lefty. It's easier for a left-handed person to hold the tray in the right hand and deal with the food and drinks with the left or dominant one. A farmer only has goats, sheep, and horses on his farm. At the moment, they're all horses, but 5, all goats, but 4, and all sheep, but 3. So, how many of each animal does the farmer have? There were 3 sheep, 2 goats, and 1 horse on the farm. Altogether, there were 6 animals. Meh. You know, scientists claim that the way your brain perceives and analyzes information can reveal a lot about your personality. Look at each of these optical illusions for a couple of seconds. What you see first can say a lot about who you are. Number 1. If the first thing you saw was a tree, you tend to pay too much attention to details, but you're great at feeling the mood of other people. It makes you a tactful and empathetic person. And if you spotted a couple facing each other, you're logical, calm, and rational. You know how to reason with people, even when they're upset or nervous. Number 2. If you saw a car in this picture, you treasure your freedom. You like it when things go according to your plan. That's why it's often hard for you to make fast decisions. If you thought it was a man holding binoculars, you don't usually pay too much attention to details. Instead, you focus on the big picture. But maybe you noticed the letter A first. Then you have a rare ability to spot things other people miss. You're extremely intuitive and can think outside the box. Número 3. If the first thing you see in the picture is 2 thumbs, you're a great leader and an excellent organizer. You're ready to take responsibility, and you understand what consequences your actions will have. And if you spotted an eruption, you have an altruistic personality. You're interested in people and want to help them. And here's number 4. If it's a monkey you notice first, that's my picture. No, actually, you're an independent person. It's crucial for you to have some personal space. If you saw a tiger, you don't mind taking risks. You believe nothing is impossible if you try hard enough. 5. If the first thing you saw was several trees in front of a sunset, you're very perceptive and easygoing. If you spotted a feline's face, you're a determined person. You always stick to the decisions you make and move towards your goal no matter what. 6. If the first thing you noticed in this image was an outline of a face, you're likely to be an introvert. You don't like noisy parties. They make you feel worn out, both physically and emotionally. If you saw a saxophonist, you're more extroverted. You love socializing, and people fall all over themselves to make friends with you. But remember to rest and not to burn out. 7. If you only saw some nature in this image, your life is full of different events at the moment. You don't like routine, choosing to mix up your activities. This way, you'll never do the same stuff several days in a row. If you noticed a face hidden in this image, it's facing the bottom of the frame. You're an organized person. You find it hard to live without a plan. It makes you feel unsafe. 8. If you saw zebras more clearly, you love talking and enjoy being surrounded by people. Making new acquaintances is your hobby. You don't like following boring routines. If it was a lion that stood out in the image, you prefer a calmer lifestyle. You'd rather spend some quality time with your few trusted friends and your family. Having too many people around drains your energy, which makes you avoid crowded places. 9. If you saw a face in this image, you're approachable and laid back. People feel that you care. That's why they often unload their problems on you. But maybe the first thing you paid attention to was someone waving a magic wand at a kneeling figure. Then you're an ambitious person. Whatever you do, you gotta do it better than others. 10. If it was a cat that stood out in the image, you probably don't like changes. People know they can rely on you. At the same time, you tend to keep your feelings and emotions in check. If you saw a face, you're a creative person. You love learning new things, and your intuition helps you find opportunities literally everywhere. If the first thing that jumped out at you was a cliff, you can tackle pretty much any problem, all thanks to your positive outlook on life. Number 11. Is it a large, serious cat in the image? Then you're a realist when it comes to life. You see the big picture, and it helps you deal with problems. But if it's a mouse that caught your attention, you're an optimist. You try to find something positive in any situation, and in most cases, you succeed. 12. If you saw a woman's face in this picture, you often rely on your intuition, and it doesn't usually let you down. You're also attentive to what's happening in the world around you. But what if you focused on flowers? Then you're someone who often feels the need to slow down and relax in nature. 13. If a cute round face was what you noticed first, you're a sensitive and friendly person. You don't like conflicts and try to deal with disagreements in a peaceful way. If you paid attention to two birds, you're cheerful and outgoing. You love meeting new people. 14. If you saw an elephant, you're loyal to your friends and respectful to your family. People like your friendly and considerate personality. They also appreciate what a great listener you are. If you paid attention to a small village, you're quite traditional. You prefer a peaceful and simple lifestyle over a city bustle. 15. If it was the pillars that attracted your attention, you value comfort and security. It can be hard for you to break out of your comfort zone. If the image of two people popped out at you, your life is never dull. Curious and adventurous, you're ready to change your surroundings at the drop of a hat. So, somebody drop a hat. Whoops, there you go. 16. If you noticed a woman first, you have an analytical and thoughtful mind. You tend to be practical, which some people mistake for being cold-hearted. If you first saw an old man, you have a sensitive and compassionate personality. You're also creative and artistic. 17. Did you see two crocodiles facing each other? Then you always try to be in control of every situation in your life. If you noticed a bird first, you don't mind following instructions coming from other people. It doesn't mean you don't have your own opinion, but you're always ready to find a middle ground. 18. If you paid attention to a lady's face first, your brain's right hemisphere is developed better than the left one. You're an artistic person with high emotional intelligence. And if you saw a man playing the saxophone, your left brain. Logic is your strong suit. You excel at analytical thinking and numbers. 19. If you first spotted a crocodile, you're likely quite practical and prefer to avoid risks. Sometimes you tend to focus on negative things happening around you, so don't forget to relax and enjoy life. If you noticed a boat with two people in it sailing along the river, you have a great eye for details. You have a creative personality and can find a way out of any tricky situation. 20. If you saw a young woman, You have a joyful and optimistic personality. You perceive things in a positive light, but sometimes you can be too impulsive. If you noticed an old woman first, you have a lot of life experience. It helps you look at all situations from various perspectives. 21. Did you spot a duck first? Quack. Then you're a highly intuitive, creative type with a rich imagination. If the first thing you noticed was a rabbit, you have outstanding analytical skills. You must be great at writing, reading, and figuring out logical solutions to all kinds of problems. 22. If you saw a squirrel, you're great at analyzing things. Your logical thinking helps you process facts and find solutions amazingly fast. If what jumped out at you at first was a duck, your talents are more on the creative side of things. 23. Most people spot a frog in this image right away. If you're one of them, you're self-confident and thus relaxed. You communicate with others in a direct, honest, and sincere way. And if you saw a horse, you're always trying to get to the deeper meaning of things. You have your own opinion, and nothing people say can sway it. 24. If it was a candlestick that attracted your attention first, you usually see a situation as a whole. Only after figuring out the big picture, you spring into action. And if you notice two faces first, you have the ability to concentrate on details. It's extremely important for you to surround yourself with positive people and get their support. You board a small plane. Nice. You're the only passenger on board. In a few hours, you'll be sunbathing on the beach, sipping something cold and refreshing. But before that happens, you'll face an epic test to see if you've got the kind of survival skills you need to survive in the wild. Count up your right answers and see what it all means at the end of the video. You fasten your seatbelt and fall asleep just before takeoff. Suddenly, turbulence. You wake up from a dream where you were an octopus in an earthquake. The plane's shaking, your luggage falls out of the overhead. This is serious. You strap on an oxygen mask and notice a flash of lightning outside. A second later, you see another flash, but this time it's your plane's engine. It's on fire. You're falling. The screeching of ripped metal, screams, and then darkness. You pass out. After a few seconds, you open your eyes and find yourself falling from the sky. Okay, get it together. You unfasten yourself from the chair to stop spinning. The first rays of sun appear over the horizon, and down below, you see a dense forest, a green field, and a small pond. By stretching out your body, you can change direction, you can steer. So, where are you going to land or crash? You have 3 seconds to decide. The best answer is the forest. A fall into water from that high up would hurt the same as falling flat on the ground. But tree branches can soften a fall. You plummet into the forest and lose consciousness. Day 1. Awake. Your whole body aches. Fortunately, you're not injured and you can even walk. Those branches saved your life. Yeah, this is a fairy tale. Now, where to? You don't have a map or a compass. Then suddenly, you hear the sound of a river. You need to choose a direction. Here are the options. Walk in a straight line. Find some moss on a tree and walk in the direction it's growing. Find the river and walk along it. You have 10 seconds to choose. Don't go straight if you don't want to get lost and walk in circles. Navigating by moss? Yeah, I just made that up to mess with you. You should go along the river. It'll lead to a pond or a lake, and there might be people there, or a road, or some signs at least. Day 2. You make it to a lake, but there's no sign of civilization. Now what? Maybe head back up the river? Along the way, you pass out again. You wake up and it's cold, so you drink some river water and try to make a fire. You collect dry twigs, brushwood, birch bark, and moss. Oh, sweet! A gas lighter and a piece of paper in your pocket. What's the best way to start a fire? Put the branches in a pile and pour gasoline on them. Put pieces of paper in the branches and fire them up. Make the branches into a triangle, place birch bark under, and light it. You have 7 seconds, and it's getting really cold. Don't pour that precious gasoline on the branches. It'll burn out too quickly, and those fumes are bad for you. The paper will burn off too fast, and the wood won't catch fire. The triangle of wood will let air pass through it. That's the key. Fire and air, a match made in heaven. Get it? Match? Okay. Day 3. You finally get warm, drink some water, and continue along the river. Uh-oh, you haven't eaten anything for 3 days. Gotta get on it. You don't know how to fish, so you go into the forest to find some food. You have a few choices. Berries, they look delicious and seem pretty juicy. Ants, mushrooms. You have 7 seconds. Choose wisely. Ants are the most delicious and safe thing around. You just can't eat random berries or mushrooms. They can be poisonous. Now, how do you get those ants to march right into your mouth? Hey, I can't hand you all the answers. Day 4. A big bear is blocking your path. You shout to scare it away, but it just looks at you. It's not happy. And now it's coming your way. What should you do? Run as fast as possible, because bears are big and clumsy. Climb the nearest tree and sit up there till the bear goes away. Lie down in a fetal position and stay absolutely still. You have 5 seconds to make a choice, and it better be the right one. Bears are fast and can climb trees like they're oversized squirrels. The right decision is to pretend to be asleep. The bear will see that you're not a threat and probably will pass you by. Day 5. Heavy rain starts to fall. You need to hide under a tree, build shelter, and make another fire. Which of these 3 trees should you hide under? You have 7 seconds before you're soaked to the bone. The tree on the left is rotten and might crumble at any moment. There's a snake crawling in the tree on the right. Venomous or not, it's not worth the risk. The tree in the middle is perfect. Day 6. Your stomach starts to rumble. Those ants weren't exactly filling. You decide to catch a fish at all costs. Aha! You could use a piece of your clothing as bait, but where can you find a fishing rope? You have 10 seconds for this one. The answer is your shoelaces. They should be enough if you tie them together. After a long day of fishing, you finally catch one. Aha! Sushi! Day 7. Your journey along the river continues. Up ahead, you see that the river splits into 2 smaller streams. Decision time, left or right. This could mean life or not. You have 7 seconds to decide your fate. Definitely the right stream. There are wolf tracks by the left stream. A pack of hungry wild animals? Yeah, no thanks. Day 8. No way, you're saved! In the distance, you can just make out the roof of a big house. You run over and tragedy. The house is totally abandoned and almost destroyed. But you still decide to go in. In the hallway, you see 3 doors. There's a sign with snakes and spiders on the first door. The second door also has a sign, a pit with spears at the bottom. The third door has a lightning bolt sign on it, probably some high voltage stuff going on in there. Which room should you choose? I'll give you 10 seconds for this one. Go for the third door. The house is abandoned, so the power's probably been out for years. You decide to stay the night, rest, and move on in the morning, even though it's super creepy. Day 9. Time to hit the road again. In the house, you find a piece of broken mirror and grab it just in case. You've been walking for hours, but the river doesn't seem to be leading anywhere. Then you hear the most magical sound. You look up. A helicopter! You need them to see you, but there's no time to start a fire. What can you do? The helicopter's about to fly off. 5 seconds, quick! Grab that piece of mirror. You can reflect the sun off it and try and direct the light at the helicopter. Yeah, you've been spotted, but you can't be saved. No. Thunderclouds come out of nowhere and force the helicopter to fly away. Your best bet? Stay right where you are. That helicopter will come back for you tomorrow, hopefully. Day 10. You wake up in a good mood. The rescuers will be here soon. You take off your shoes to wash your feet in the river. Then, a not-so-magical sound. You hear a growl. 2 wolves are staring down their noses at you. You start running in a total panic. The wolves start to chase you. They're catching up. There are 3 paths up ahead. The first road is covered in hot coals. The second one is littered with rusty nails. The third has broken glass all over it. Which path are you going to choose? You have 2 seconds. The wolves are coming right up behind you. Your best bet is the hot coals. You're running, which means you won't have time to feel any pain. It might get a little hot, but your feet will be safe. The wolves don't dare run through the coals, but they stay nearby. Great. Now the rescuers won't know where to find you. Wait a minute. How did these 3 paths appear in the forest anyway? People made them. You're on the right path. Civilization is near. Yeah, food, water, Wi-Fi. Day 11. The helicopter appears in the sky again. You whip out your mirror and go to town. The helicopter starts to fly down, but it can't land on your side of the river. The forest is too dense. The rescuers are waiting for you on the other side. Quick! 3 logs lie across the water. Which one's safe to run across? You have 10 seconds, so think carefully. The first log looks old. The river might carry it away at any moment. The third log, well, it's a crocodile. You need to cross the river on the second log. You're saved. Next stop, a cool ocean breeze. But what you don't know yet is that there's one more test. You'll be swept far out into the ocean after you accidentally fall asleep on a little boat you rented. But that's another story. Now, let's check out how well you did. 0 to 4 points? You better not go camping without an experienced guide. Hey, don't worry, survival in the wild isn't for everyone. 5 to 9 points? Not bad. If you get lost in the forest, you won't panic. But things might get a bit hairy if you have to stay out there for more than a couple of days. 10 to 12 points. Wildlife is your second home. If things get really bad, you could just camp out in the woods forever. Hey, just never mind that part about falling out of the plane without a parachute. So, how about testing your color contrast vision? Only a few people can make it to the end. This challenge has 3 levels, and each next one is tougher than the previous. Get a pen and a piece of paper to write down your score. For each correct answer, you'll get 1 point. Aren't we generous? The results will be at the end of the video. Level 1. Don't worry, it's a breeze. Can you figure out which square has a different color? Right you are. And no, it's not going to be that easy. You were just warming up. Are the 2 halves of this circle the same color? They are both the same shade of gray, but it looks different because of the contrasting backgrounds. How many colors can you see in this image? There are only 3 hues here: green, white, and red. Oh, and we're not counting Hugh the animator. He's colorful enough. Try to find the odd triangle. Yep, here it is, closer to the bottom. How about this picture? Which triangle is different from the rest? The one on the right is a bit lighter than the others. Are the green circles the same color, or are they different? Even though the circles in the top half of the picture look darker, all of them are actually the same. Look at the squares in the middle and say whether they are two different colors or the same. It's the same color, but because of the surrounding squares, you might perceive the central ones as two different shades of red. And here we go again. Which triangle is different? It's the one on the right. It's lighter than the rest. How many colors do you see in the picture? There are just three: black, white, and dark green. Here, that's what it would look like if the background is the same. Which part of this pinkish fish is different from the others? The one on the left, closer to the fish's head, is a different shade of pink. And is there a triangle that's different from the rest in this image? Yep, it's the one at the top. Try to figure out which bar, A or B, is in the red and green field. The correct answer is A. How many colors can you see in this picture? Just three: blue, yellow, and red. The smaller squares are the same color, even though it may seem they have different shades. Which blue triangle stands out from the rest? Ah, right, it's the one at the bottom. Look at these two circles and say if they're the same color. Yes, they are. The one on the right seems to be yellowish, but it's just an illusion. Ooh. Does the blue rectangle in the middle have a gradient? It doesn't. If you remove the background color, which does have a gradient, all that's left is just a blue block. Level 2. Ooh. This level is likely to make you think. Oh no! Nah, really. Concentrate and don't let color illusions trick your brain. How many squares are a lighter orange color? Two of them are lighter, this one and the one that's closer to the bottom. Can you spot the odd triangle? This one's different. Its shade is a bit lighter than that of the rest. Which gray stripes are darker, those on the left or the ones on the right? believe it or not, but all of them are the same shade. Do the gray bars in the middle have a gradient? They don't. What you see is the effect of color assimilation. In reality, the gray bars are just that, gray. And here we go again. Which triangle is the odd one? The one at the bottom has a slightly different shade. How many shades do the gray squares have? It's the same shade that looks lighter and darker because of the background. Which part is different than the rest? The triangle on the left is lighter than its neighbors. How about finding the odd one in this image? No, the picture, not me. That's tough, but this one here, closer to the top, is different. How many colors can you see in this image? Only 3, red, blue, and the same shade of yellow. Which of these 4 squares are the same color? I would say A and D and B and C, but no. The answer is B and D. Which triangle differs from the others? That's what I call the next level. It turns out this triangle is the odd one. But no matter how hard I squint, I can't see the difference. Is it true that the right side of each band is darker than the left one? Nah, it's just an illusion. The bands don't have any gradient. Which 2 of these 3 squares are the same color? Squares 2 and 3 are the same shade of green. Are all the dots the same shade of red? Well, if you place them on a white background, you'll see they're all the same. Which triangle is different? The one on the left. It's a colder shade of green than the rest. A colder shade of green? How chilly. Which square is lighter, A or B? They're precisely the same shade of gray. Square B looks lighter only because of the shadow cast over it. Here, let me prove my point. Ta-da! Level 3. Brace yourself, it's gonna be mind-boggling. Which is the darkest piece? A, B, or C? To tell you the truth, I failed this one. All these pieces turned out to be the same color, even though I still find it hard to believe. How many colors are there in the picture? There are yellow and blue stripes and red faces. The face on the left looks purplish because your eyes mix the red and blue colors. And the one on the left looks orange because, yellow and red. If you don't believe me, see for yourself. Would you believe it if I told you that the light blue and light green spirals are actually the same color? They only appear to be different. In reality, these spirals are identical. And an oldie but a goodie. Which triangle is the odd one? It's the one on the right. It might be a tiny bit lighter than the others. Which part is darker, A or B? Surprise, surprise, these two pieces are the same color. If you want some proof, cover the line where the two parts meet with your finger. Here you go. How many different colors are these balls? The answer is not 3. Don't ask. All the balls are the same. It's the stripes that create the illusion. Do you think these dogs are different or the same? One of the dogs looks blue, the other is supposedly yellow, but in fact, they're the same color. Is it some magic? And the question remains unchanged. The same or different? These pieces are exactly the same color, but they look different because of the contrasting grids and backgrounds. There are 2 chess sets. The upper one is white and the bottom one is black, right? Wrong. The sets are the same color. The only thing that's changed is the background. Which of these tiles are the same color? Well, I was sure I got it right. A looks like C, doesn't it? But no, all the tiles are one and the same color. Now, I challenge you to find the odd triangle. Ah, here it is, slightly brighter than the rest. How many colors do you see in this image? I see 4, but there are just 3 colors, yellow, blue, and red. Which ball on the coffee table, B or C, is the same color as ball A on the floor? Even though ball B looks much darker than ball A, it's the right choice. Concentrate. Ooh, this one's going to be incredibly hard. Which part differs from the others? It's the one on the right. Hey, don't ask me why. And now, the best part of any test, the results. If your score is 0 to 15 points, your color contrast sensitivity could use some work. It sometimes happens when your eyes are tired. Wink, wink. But if you got 16 to 31 points, you haven't exactly aced the test, but your sensitivity to color contrast is quite high. Maybe your screen brightness is wrong, or the lighting in your room is too dim. If you have 32 to 46 points, you're great at distinguishing colors. Less than 5% of people can get that far with so many correct answers. Not me.